The devil seeks to disable the spiritual warrior, Geronda. Sometimes the temptations come one after another and I can't stand it. If I give you a solution to avoid them, will you accept it? Yes. The only way to avoid temptations is to make an alliance with the devil. Why are you smiling? You don't like this solution. Look, let me explain. As long as someone is struggling, there will be temptations and difficulties. And the more one tries to avoid temptation, the more contrary the devil becomes. But through temptations, if we use them correctly, we are given the opportunity to make our life, which sometimes is anti-evangelical, evangelical. Geronda, I get bogged down in unimportant things, and then I have no energy to struggle for something more spiritual. That is like the mines positioned by the enemy to neutralize the army. The devil, when he realizes that he cannot do any other harm to the spiritual warrior, will try to disable him with unimportant things. Also, you should know that there are many other little devils who do great harm. Once one such little devil was asked, "What harm could you possibly do?" And he replied, "What can I do? I go and tangle the strings of the seamstresses of the cobblers and cause them to become angry." The biggest scandals are caused by unimportant things, not just between people, but sometimes between the nations as well. Spiritual people have no serious occasions for scandals, so there the devil finds opportunities from minor things. He can break the spirit of a spiritual person through foolish, childish matters, rendering his heart as he wants it, useless and incapable of real spiritual struggle. Why is it, Geronda, that I start off my struggle methodically and with enthusiasm, but soon neglect it? Don't you know, the devil, as soon as he realizes that we are doing spiritual work, turns the switch on to something else. While we set ourselves a certain rule, we find ourselves doing something else. And if we are not paying attention, we do not realize this for days. This is why the fighter must always go contrary to the Tangalaki, the devil, with discernment. Of course, and be guided by an experienced spiritual father. Does the devil attack a person who is not involved in refined spiritual work? Satan won't go to a useless person. He'll go to a fighter in order to tempt and disable him. He won't waste time working out cunning temptations on someone who is not involved in refined spiritual work. To one sewing with a sack needle, he sends the devil with a sack needle. To one doing very fine needle work, he sends the devil to do very fine work. To those who are doing coarse spiritual work on themselves, he sends a boorish devil. To the beginners, he sends an inexperienced devil. Those sensitive people who have a refined soul and a great sense of philorimo need to be careful, because the devil gets involved to make them even more sensitive, to the point of melancholy or even, God forbid, suicide. While the devil makes us humans turn against one another and argue, he himself never turns contrary. Those who are careless and neglectful, he makes even more careless and neglectful, putting them at ease with a thought. You have a headache, you are not well. It doesn't matter if you don't get up for prayer. Those who are pious, he makes even more pious to trick them into the sin of pride or to push them to struggle beyond their strength and become so weary that they abandon all their spiritual weapons, thus causing former fighters to surrender altogether. The devil makes hard-hearted people more hard-hearted and the sensitive hypersensitive. And you can see how many people are suffering. Some because they are sensitive and others because they have had a nervous breakdown and are troubled with sleeplessness and need to take many pills. or they are in some other way tormented and wasting away in some hospital. It is quite rare today to find a well-balanced person. People have become like batteries. Most of them seem to have electricity, especially those who do not go to confession are subject to demonic attacks. They seem to have a demonic magnetism because the devil has authority over them. Few people, no matter where they are, boys or girls or adults, have a calm and serene look. Possession. Do you know what possession means? Not being able to communicate with other people.